Hello. Totally saw you there. Welcome to the Death Battle cast. Hey, I'm Ben, joined by Liam. We got Aaron, and then we got somebody in the corner there, brand new to the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome Moro to Death Battle cast. It's Moro
Hey,
Productions
I
himself.
need more of this guy on cast.
Uh,
Hell,
Yep.
Baba Booey.
Hey, hey, at least you didn't make the moron question, the moron joke.
That
Oh
would have been so
no.
nice. It's so evil of me. What
That'd
is
be
fucking
terrible.
moron? It doesn't work because it's Moro and it's not Mora. Whatever.
It works in text better.
It's better
Yeah,
in text, yeah.
I suppose so.
Yeah.
But yeah, Moro is here. You may know Moro as lead animator for Shigaraki versus Mahito, Bowser versus Eggman, or perhaps for just a little, what, 40, 50-minute long video that got released a couple days ago. Moro, what the heck did you just release to the internet?
Fan fiction.
There you go.
Tell us a little bit about what you've been doing. What is this Indie Cross thing?
Uh, it's an idea that I had like since 2019, I think, and it's basically just Super Smash Bros. But with indie games and a story mode. That's about it.
Story mode Smash Brothers with any games. Yeah, I mean that's a good way to describe it. If you guys watching this, if you have not watched Indie Cross, Moro has released 2 episodes so far, and I mean, you have to see it to believe it. Like, let me just put
Yeah.
it that way. It's so fucking incredible. Go check out Indie Cross, and on the Moro Production YouTube channel. It's fantastic. So, all right, we have a very interesting matchup to talk about today. Given that Indie Cross is about indie games, we were thinking like it might be fun to explore a matchup today on Death Metal Cast that explores indie video game characters. In particular, there was a pitch that we got from one of the Kickstarter pitches that really sort of struck us as this like really unique matchup, really unique sort of like comparison, and that is Flowey from Undertale. Yes, the terrifying flower monster demon thing, versus the princess from Slay the Princess. And if you do not know what Slay the Princess is, we'll get to it, but if you like Undertale, you're probably gonna dig Slay the Princess. It's a really fascinating, just concept of a game. All right, so here's how this works. If you're new to Death Battle Cast, here's how this works. We're gonna be debating this matchup. Liam is gonna be repping Flowey. Aaron is gonna be repping the princess, and it's their job to convince us, and by us I mean you all watching this live right now. We do this live every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Central. It's their job to convince you that their character should win in a death battle. And at the end of the show, you'll be able to vote on who should win. Also, later on in the show, we do have a little sneak peek for an upcoming death battle. You may be aware that Master Chief versus Doomslayer is coming out this weekend, and we have some animation to show, but we will get to that later on in the show. And of course, since we do have Moro here for the first time ever, if anybody has any questions they want to ask Moro about animation or Indie Cross or whatever, feel free to drop it in the chat, and we will just rudely interrupt whatever Liam is talking about to talk to Moro instead. That's my plan, anyway.
As long as we only interrupt Liam.
Here's my most important argument, the thing that really ties everything I've built
Moro,
up together.
Familatator asks. All
You'll
right,
see
well,
blood shoot out of my eyes.
let's get to it. So we'll start with Flowey because I feel like most people in chat
He's the
know who
most normal
Flowey
one.
is, right?
Yeah,
Well, he's
I mean, you
probably
guys
the
have
one that
played
is
Undertale.
more recognized,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
By default,
Undertale's a
yeah.
big thing. Frisk literally appears in Indie Cross if you haven't seen it, right, Moral? That is Frisk and
No, he's lying.
intense. But Liam, tell us a little
Yeah.
bit about Flowey. Who is Flowey? What does he do?
Flowey is a flower, but also not but also kind of. Flowey is a flower that was injected with the determination of Azrael Dreamer, who is the Prince of Monsters, who died. And his determination was injected into Flowey, so he's sort of reincarnated through Flowey. Flowey's like a living flower, but he doesn't have a soul, which makes Flowey essentially a psychopath who has no emotions and can't feel anything. And he's fucking crazy and wants to kill. His philosophy is kill or be killed. So when you frisk a little boy that falls into a boy or girl, right? I forget. I think it's not. It's never stated. You fall into the realm of the monsters, and Flowey basically follows you throughout your quest. Flowey is unique in that he is aware of any time that you, the player, reset the timeline. And what you do is you essentially, when you save your game and you reload, he is aware of those timeline changes because he has that ability too. He loses it when you first show up because you have more determination than him, but over time he regains that level of determination. Whoever has the most determination, which is like your will, has control over the timeline. Yeah, and he becomes a horrible god of fucking death, a big Photoshop Flowey monster thing, and then he later is essentially reincarnated fully as Azrael, and becomes the god of hyper death. Yeah, with his goal of destroying all of Undertale, not just one timeline, but all of them. That's Flowey basically.
All right. All right. And Flowey sort of evolves and changes form and has a lot of different
Yes.
ways they interact with the world through
Yeah.
flower
Three
form or terrifying plant Cthulhu or anything.
three
like
main
that.
forms. There's like base Flowey, is just a little flower. Then there's Photoshop Flowey, which is when he absorbs 6 human souls. And then there is Azrael Dreamer, or God of Hyper Death, when he absorbs I believe those 6 souls, and then all the souls of all the monsters in Undertale. So he gets all of their powers and becomes like fully reborn.
God
Yeah.
of Hyper Death is just such a title.
Right? Yeah. You can feel the hot topic like emanating off of it,
Yeah.
like kind of radioactive particles.
The black eyeliner just dripping down from his little emo tears. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm. All right. Well, let's talk about Slay the Princess. And I see just a dude asking in chat, how spoilery are we getting with Slay the Princess here? I mean, we just spoiled the ending of Undertale.
We just
so-
spoiled the
Yeah.
ending of Undertale. If you
game is-
haven't been around and haven't played that game, which has been out for
The
over
game is
a
10 years
decade,
old. It's 10 years old now. Isn't that fucking
How
crazy?
old is Slay the Princess? When did Slay the Princess come out?
not as I don't know the year it was released actually, but it's somewhat more
2023.
recent. And then the pristine cut, which was the kind of like final addition to the game, is more recent than that. So it is a more recent game. There
I
is
get the
going to
sense
be
that there's going to be spoilers, but also this is a type of game where the spoilers could potentially make you want to play it more.
Yeah, I would say
Mm.
that. It's basically impossible to talk about Princess, especially within the context of our show, without entirely spoiling the game. So, watcher be warned if you do care about spoilers. But yeah, I would say it's a game where when you get some spoilers in, it does make you more interested. I can at least say that, after this pitch call had happened, it made me interested in playing the game.
Yeah. Yeah. So
So,
let's tell us
yeah.
a little bit about it. Assuming people in chat don't know what the heck this game is, give us the rundown.
Yeah, so Slay the Princess is a indie narrative game. It is purely a narrative conversational game. So it is just you making choices. Princess, as the title suggests, slay the princess. Your goal is to slay the princess, because if you don't slay the princess, she is going to end the world. So you, as the player, you play as the hero, and your goal is to slay the princess, or everything will end. The princess is a character who then is very dynamic to the choices that you make within the game. So she has, I think, 15 total iterations after the DLC now, of how she can change and grow throughout the game. And as you kind of progress through the game, you learn that the princess is far more than she seems, as are you, the player. And the way in which the princess can change can include apotheosis. She can, in fact, become a god, or more accurately, remember that she is a god. So the Flowey versus princess matchup is an interesting debate because we're talking about characters that are just a flower and just a princess who then become a god duke 'em out battle.
Characters who evolve or shift into different forms based on what the player does in a general sense, I think is kind of the broad
Yes.
sort of overlook of this matchup, right?
Yeah, and also like indie game gods, the god
Yeah.
demon final bosses.
Yeah. But yes, Slay the Princess is such a fascinating concept of a game. Obviously, it's a playoff save the princess. But it turns out that the princess is the monster you have to save the kingdom princess from. It's a
The
whole thing.
world, the universe.
Yeah.
Not just the
I
kingdom.
suppose when you're getting into God stuff. Yeah.
That's
the
very quick to
universe.
tell me that there are 24 full iterations. I was primarily talking about some of the ending options that you can get, but yes, she has a lot of iterations that are reactive to your choices as a player. So there's a lot of endings to collect. Yeah.
There are
kind of game is-
more.
How-
Yeah, it's like a. What kind of game genre?
Yeah,
I
I was
guess,
just curious, like what kind of game it is.
It's a narrative choice adventure game.
Okay.
It is you are picking choices from a list and things happen
Gotcha,
in result of that.
gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm down.
classic RPG style game. Except with some crazy art. There's some crazy art to it.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Definitely recommend
I have this
checking it
down on my
out.
list.
Okay, so I see some super chats coming in. I'll get to them in just a minute. Thank you everybody for sending those in, and I do see some questions for Mora as well, so we'll get to those. But before we get to that, I do have a question. We have Flower turned Eldritch God. We have Princess turned Eldritch God. How does this fight, like, what does this fight even look like? Like, what do they do to each other?
So Flowey, I mean, like all the enemies in Undertale, they attack your soul, which this is like a really basic thing, and I'm pretty sure this is how it works, but I'm pretty sure your soul is just like here, like physically right here. So when you're moving yourself around, you're moving your body around. I could be totally wrong though. I've actually never squared that, but essentially, like the way the game
in the Undertale, like when you're moving the heart
the little
around.
box, yeah, I think
Sure.
that's how it's represented, or I think that's how people have like justified it. I'm kind of going off of like the Steven Universe song fan animation where like Kara is jumping around or whatever you say. But I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Essentially, they attack your soul though. It's like, and it's a bullet hell. So Flowey has tons of bullet hell projectiles, enough that he can like kind of uniquely completely surround your soul and bullet hell projectiles to make sure that you get hit, which is like literally how the game starts. So he has attacks that are like unavoidable. I'm looking at my notes, but there's
Velvet
like
Vessel in chat says, yeah, it's basically that. So I think you got it
yeah,
right.
it's basically that. He can also absorb souls. He's capable of breaking the fourth wall. That's a huge thing in Undertale, is that Flowey is aware essentially that there is the player character, and then there's you, the player, controlling the character, and he can talk straight to you. He can save and reset the timeline. So in case he's ever like dead or dying, it's like literally he said like I died, and then I had the will to like keep on living, so I just kept on living and I reset the game back to where I was, where I had first saved it. So in order to kill him, you'd have to like get around that ability, or have more determination than him in order to wrest control of the Undertale timeline. I don't know. That might be a verse equalization. I'm not sure about that, but essentially that's how it happens in Undertale. Yeah, that's just base Flowey though.
Dog Lover just gifted 20 memberships, and then Gilded Data also came in with 10. If anybody in chat got a membership from one of them, give them a thanks, because that's a lot. That's a lot. Thanks guys for gifting some memberships. Yeah, okay. So crazy stuff. What about the princess? How does the princess actually fight? And also, this is gonna get a little weird because I believe each form has a different way of interacting.
I will touch on first. There is kind of a interesting amount of, I think, verse equalization you end up doing with these characters, just because they do have, aspects of them that are very similar. So just kind of bounce off of what Liam said. The princess does have, it's not full fourth wall in that she's not aware of the abstracted player outside of the character that you are playing, but she is aware that you as the player character and her are both stuck in the game, which is also essentially a time loop. There is one of the iterations where she essentially says, like, okay, I'm aware we're in a game. Do you want me to just end it, or do you want me to continue it forever so that we can still essentially be together? I can set the game to constantly reset and never end, or I could just end it entirely, and then you as the player get to choose what option you want. So she does have some of those sort of meta narrative abilities as well. Flowey goes beyond in that he knows, you, Liam, are playing Frisk. So she doesn't have that level, but she does have that kind of meta narrative, and she also does have awareness of when she is killed. To say that she dies when that happens, you could argue about, but she is aware when she gets killed, and the game loop is reset as well, depending on your conversation choices with her. The big thing, and I think this makes it interesting to put her into a fight specifically against Flowey, is that she essentially has the ability to become whatever you as the player character perceive her to be. So if you as the player character think that she's really powerful, she'll be really powerful. If you think that she's terrifying, she'll be terrifying. If you think that she's an innocent princess, she'll be an innocent princess.
Like Gozer, the Gozerian.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I think the other thing that has to kind of get brought into this conversation of this being specifically a versus matchup between these two characters, much in the same way of when we say, okay, when we bring Flowey into a matchup, are we also bringing in Azriel? For the princess, we have to consider, are we bringing in Princess, a small, abstracted, divided version of a concept, or are we talking about the god that she is able to become and the god that she once was simultaneously? Because the princess is a small, separated kind of consciousness of a larger god being. So it becomes a question of, are we bringing in, it's called the shifting mound. Are we bringing in the god of death and change in this universe, or are we just talking about
I also
princess?
have a big question. Apparently, chat keeps talking about how the dev for Slay the Princess is here. What's going on? Are they actually in chat? Incredible.
Black Games, hi.
What's up?
Vote for me against your character.
Hey, if Aaron says anything wrong, correct us, I guess.
The pressure is on now.
Yeah, all right.
Aaron,
welcome.
and to answer your question, we should definitely include Azriel for Flowey, but we should include whatever the weakest thing for the princess is, because I said so.
I see. Okay.
Yeah,
well, in that iteration, then we have the most innocent princess character that you can meet at the beginning of the game via the stranger, and she'll just sit there and politely talk to you until you stab her to death.
Black Tabby Games is officially a Death Battle member. I don't know if that was from a gift of membership or what, but thank you for becoming a member, Black Tabby. Also, let us know, if there's something that we need to bring up that we're not talking about. Let us know.
by all means. I brushed up on the game before this, but I don't know if it'll be enough now.
Hell
but welcome.
Okay, that's super cool. That's super cool. All right. Well, speaking of members, I wanna get through some of these super chats because you guys have been very chatty. So William says, thought I'd give a little heads up that Slay the Princess is a really good game, and if you're at all interested in checking out, please do it going in as spoiler free as possible. So yeah, we'll try to avoid like the story elements of it, but like obviously the different forms of the princess are going to come up in the battle.
Yeah. I won't give you
also,
a play-by-play of
Black-
how to get to some of the forms. And also, if you have listened this far, you've gotten some spoilers already, and for that I do apologize. But also, we warned you at the beginning. So
also, just because Black Tabby is here, we're going to be like super biased now. No. Gilda Data says the goat Moro. Yes. So I think we do have some questions for Moro coming up. Michael, the king of modern death battle animations. It's Moro. We are not worthy. Thank you for these super chats. Next Berserker and Crossover 4, see yours. Next Berserker, okay. Moro, I think we got a question for you. Okay, this is kind of a broad question, but next Berserker asks, how do you do your animation process? I want to know what tools you use so that I can learn it for myself. So Moro, I guess just in general, like what are the sort of animation tools you use, and what would you recommend somebody who's like new to animation like use to learn and like get into it? I think that's the general idea.
Okay, first off, this is a finally not an NDA question, so that's good.
Yeah.
Uh, I usually use Adobe Animate. A lot of people assume that I use Toon Boom for some reason, but Adobe Animate is basically that, but less impressive in every way.
We've
So
used
I
Toon
do.
Boom for like Death Battle and a lot of the old like Rooster Teeth 2D shows that we worked on used Toon Boom. It's very much a 2D, literally a 2D sort of like animation style program. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you can kind of get the same sort of look that a lot of your animations have through Toon Boom. So I see why people would assume that. But what would
Yeah.
you recommend people like start with?
I started with sprite animations. That's the easiest, but I think you can go either way. You can go either with stick figures. You can do stop motions. You can, or basically what I did, the sprite animations. You can just find sprites online, just put them together, and there you have a nice looking animation.
Yeah, can confirm. Sprites are much easier to work with than a lot of other potential like 3D or detailed highly detailed large like figures. So I definitely agree. Sprites are a good way to start. Uh Mitchell or sorry, Michael again with Moro, which episode would you rather animate? Captain Jack Sparrow versus Edward Kenway or Luz versus Anne? You
Okay,
got to pick one.
that's also an NDA question. Like,
Well, we're
can
not.
I
This
can
is
I
we haven't announced any of those. So, like, sure. Do you want to animate Captain Jack Sparrow or Owl House? I guess.
I mean, I guess yeah. I'm more familiar with the Owl House and Amphibia, so yeah, I think that'd be my
Wait,
choice.
have you seen Pirates of the Caribbean?
No, sadly.
We gotta get Laurel to watch
Dude.
Pirates.
Can I just say, people that say that the second and third movies are bad are fucking insane. The trilogy
not
is
bad.
all good. It's all good. The third
They're
one's my
just
favorite. I think it gets
different from the
better.
first one.
They are
It's
different.
I don't know if they get
They're
better,
amazing.
but
I think they get better.
but
Dude,
I
they
mean,
they're
are.
it's hard to beat
Sorry.
out Pirate King Elizabeth, so
Oh,
I
with the speech
agree.
she gives.
The third
With the
one,
speech
they
she gives.
gather a whole pirate army and they do jack all. Like, what the? How's the third one the best?
There's a giant fucking spinning
Anyway.
typhoon. Okay.
Colby says,
Calypso's
I'm
like,
super happy to see the
"Rah."
resurgence of interest in Slay the Princess overall. It's such a fascinating game to play through for a first time. Hope the princess wins. Yeah, Black Tabby. We got some totally not paid advertising going on in chat for you right now. House. Let's see. Then we got Crossover 4. Never played Undertale or Slay the Princess. Well, have I got news for you? You should.
You should play both.
Alicorn pictures God of Hyperdeath. Yeah, Azrael Dreamer frequents Hot Topic. That definitely sounds like it'd be a Hot Topic shirt. I want that. God of Hyperdeath. Just on this like
Very
crazy
Tumblr.
looking shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Elcado, not much to add. Just want to say y'all are goated. Oh, thank you, Elcado. And then question for I got the Jack Sparrow question again from Michael. I don't know if you did it twice. If you did it twice, thank you for the double super chat. Moro, Optinate with a $5 super chat. Moro was a guinea pig all along? Yeah. Spoiler, Moro has been a guinea pig the entire time, like an actual physical guinea pig. That's what Moro looks like, everybody. If you're watching this video, that's his face.
It's incredible he's able to
very
do
still.
such good work with such tiny little paws. Yeah.
He's an SCP, but a very cute SCP.
Levitation says, what struck me about Indie Cross is that Moro is also a very talented writer on top of being an awesome animator. Are there any talks of letting him write a death battle at some point? Moro, would you be interested in writing a death battle?
I would butcher the characters so much, so I prefer
Oh, I
I'd
think you'd do
prefer to
great.
not.
I think you'd
No,
do
because
great.
Not with that attitude.
yeah,
Or
like
with that
because
attitude.
imagine if I just have like two characters. I'm not really good with research. I usually just go with the characters I already know and then do some extra research. So I can't really
We
just
handle the research. We handle that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we handle the research. You could just handle the writing
Yeah.
animation, right? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I fully agree. I think Moro did a fantastic job with just the plotting and writing of that episode of that Indie Cross. So yeah, maybe that's something for the future. Quack, Death Battle Cast on the same day I get more of my Kickstarter rewards. Satisfactory. It's interesting. Okay. Well, I'm glad you're
I'll take
satisfied.
it.
Yeah. Speaking of which, the Kickstarter rewards, the physical rewards have been sent out. I believe all, if not most of them, have been sent out. So you should be getting those soon if you haven't already. On that note, if you have not answered like the emails and the what is it that's still
Go ahead.
Aaron, there's like a email or something out that
I'll
people
take
need
it.
to respond. Some people haven't
Yes.
responded to, right?
I'm catching the ball from you. Yeah.
Yes.
So for the Kickstarter, physical rewards have been shipped out. We're working on a few stragglers, but those are more so along the lines of like a return to sender, other kind of postal errors like that. If you are expecting to get a pitch call scheduled and you have not received an email about that yet, first, please check your spam folders for any communication from deathbattleks@gmail.com. That is the email we're using for all of our Kickstarter communication on rewards, as well as kind of general customer service. So also, if you have a question about the Kickstarter, you can absolutely send us an email at deathbattleks@gmail.com. The team will get to it. The pitch calls, there are still some invites that need to go out. Those are going to be all the rest of the pitch call invites that we have from your surveys that you did through Kickstarter. Those emails are going to be sent out by the end of this month for scheduling in May and June. If you are waiting on a Cameo video message, great news. You and everybody else on that list are also waiting. We are actively working on those. We have literally hundreds of them, so they're just taking some time to get through. But they are going to happen. They're going to get sent to you. Don't worry. Again, deathbattleks@gmail.com. Feel free to shoot us an email if you have any questions or issues.
Thank you.
Yes.
Very succinct. Very good. And then we got some questions regarding the matchup. I think this was in response to Liam talking about like how the soul works in Undertale. Third Degree asks, is it like Jujutsu Kaisen where the body and the soul are essentially the same?
Jujutsu Kaisen, like that's a specific thing for like Mahito's ability where it's like if you manipulate one, you manipulate the other. I think just in Undertale, the soul is essential, and I don't want to say just a game mechanic, but it's essentially a game mechanic to give you an object to move around in the bullet hell thing. But it's really like it's like I always imagined it as just like there's an invisible outline of your character surrounding the little red heart that is your soul. And that's how it is in the game. So when you're moving it around, you're just dodging. And I think the fact that it looks like a heart is meant to indicate that it's like not literally your heart, but like it's inside of you.
Yeah, that's what they're targeting within you.
Yeah.
Or what gets hurt essentially, because they're not. I mean, I guess in a way they're trying to stab you, but they're trying to stab you your heart.
It is worth mentioning. Asriel, like if their soul is destroyed, they have enough determination to just fix it and like repair it immediately, like Frisk does in the fight against Asriel.
Okay.
So yeah.
And then for the princess, Lily Mandragon asks, does the princess get hopes and dreams playing in this fight? Because that's a big boost. Is that a track?
Oh, yeah. I think that would be a determining factor.
Right.
Yeah,
We get some Toby Fox music playing, and then it just like amps her up. Yeah.
Yeah. The Slay the Princess does have some pretty great audio going for it, so I think combining The Slay the Princess. It's very like moody, suspenseful, and then combine that with Toby Fox would be interesting, but I think could be very well done.
Amazing. We got all sorts of people joining the chat today. We got SCP channel Site 42 in the chat as well. What's going on, guys? I guess we talk about Undertale and Slay the Princess and everybody shows up.
Well, I figure it's also because we have a SCP guesting on cast.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Like, who knows what Moro is capable of? Okay. Yeah, we did just do an SCP episode matchup last episode. If you missed that with Tyler from Imaginary Access, definitely check that out. And just a reminder, we will be showing the sneak peek for Master Chief versus Doomslayer in just a bit. Okay, so back to this. How do they kill each other? Like, how does this actually how do they actually try to win?
Okay, so
it's a great question.
Okay,
yeah,
so
because I was gonna say, like, I don't know how you kill Azrael. But I can talk about Photoshop Flowey, the abilities that he gets, because his jump in power is pretty crazy. When Flowey transforms into Photoshop Flowey, it crashes the game. So the game like shuts off, and you have to like go
intentionally.
Back,
for anybody who hasn't played it, it's not like the game is broken.
No, Undertale is horribly fucking busted. He's powerful enough to also destroy your save file, which is like literally it is a timeline. So he can destroy that. He can shoot lasers and bombs and flamethrowers at you, and he can warp reality as well. So he can change the save file. He can change like the information on it. He can change it to like now it's his save file. It says like Flowey on it. He can change the plot of the game. Like the intro cutscene is different and it talks about things differently. And he debatably destroys the timeline that you're in. It leaves the world around you in a black void. There's one little asterisk that it's like, oh, maybe he just destroyed the monster realm, but it also, that would be like, okay, then why is it fucking black void? Like, black void indicates like he destroyed the universe. Regardless, Azrael Dreamer is stronger even than that. So essentially, he can warp reality. He can take control of the universe. He can rearrange like the plot and the continuity of the universe that you're in as Photoshop Flowey. Do you want me to just jump into Azrael Dreamer as well? I can, or do you want me to let Aaron?
Before you get into Azrael, just as an aside, Princess can do all the same things.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, it's a fun matchup because they have a lot of thematic similarities and they also have a lot of ability similarities. But then we get into this question of how do they actually interact? How do they enter combat? How do they trigger each other's evolutions? How does one actually die? Because those are all kind of the big questions.
That's what I'm trying to kind of like decipher is like, how do they actually interact? Because obviously they have these like universe spanning reality warping abilities and stuff, but like, how does that meet? Like, where does this fight actually meet? Because it's a little different from Frisk fighting Flowey or whatever. It is Flowey fighting Flowey in a lot of ways. Also, Bunny Bonbon in chat asks, "What's up with the hamster guy?" That's our animator. We hired up a hamster. Hello, Moro the hamster. How you doing? Moro, I have a question. How do you animate such incredible things when you're just a tiny little gerbil? How does that work?
That's a great question.
He won't reveal his trade secrets.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't. It just doesn't work. I don't know.
That's the
you just
secret.
hop across the top of the tablet screen.
Yeah. Have you ever watched a cat go across like a keyboard? It's just like that. They say, eventually, if you have a million monkeys, one of them will write Shakespeare. Moro just has a trillion gerbils. Eventually, they make something incredible. Okay, so how does this fight? Okay, so like, let's put a situation in place. Azrael or Flowey finds the princess. What does the princess do as part of this fight? Like, what does she do? What happens?
Yeah, the first assumption of having this matchup start is actually getting them physically in the same space together.
Yeah, so Flowey attacks the princess? What does the princess do?
Sure. I mean, realistically, what probably happens is that we get her initial death as that kind of initial form of the princess you meet, where she doesn't know what's going on. She perhaps doesn't know Flowey's intentions, or maybe she does know Flowey's intentions. Kind of depending on how you start the game, a certain choice you make, she'll either be entirely like friendly and kind of innocent to you, or she'll be very suspicious of what your intentions are. Regardless, it probably does initiate with Flowey kind of getting the initial kill on the princess, which would then kind of trigger the next cycle of the
Win.
game, and then would
No, no.
yeah, and then we're done. No, I mean it is kind of the thing that would have to be set for the fight of the initial deaths are just a part of the combat, because you would actually have to get to one of their permadeaths. Which
Okay.
even then, the princess's permadeath routes come with a very big asterisk question mark on if she's actually permanently dead, versus the game is just going to eventually reset at some point down the line based off of decisions that the player character makes.
So
I'm saying it's a conceptually interesting fight, but it would be very interesting to try to actually figure out in a way that would be at all definitive.
Can I say
yeah,
something?
Go for it.
absolutely.
So in Undertale, when you fight Omega Flowey, that's the Photoshop Flowey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Frisk is essentially just defeated at the end. It's just the six souls that actually help out Frisk from breaking out, from getting
Yeah.
like infinitely getting destroyed. So how does the princess like handle that?
I think the big thing for the princess is, again, she's kind of a small abstracted. This is my understanding of the game. A lot of it's up to interpretation. The princess is a small abstracted, kind of separated concept of the larger god slash concept of death and change and destruction. She is ultimately that force. That is why the kind of idea of the game is, oh, you have to slay the princess or the world will end, or you need to slay the princess to save the world. The concept behind that is that she is destruction.
Mhm.
If she lives and escapes the cabin, she will rain death and destruction and change upon the world, because that is, at a base entity, who she is.
Okay.
I want
So
to add on.
when we talk about how can she destroy Flowey, the answer is that if she, as princess, realizes that she is this concept and that she is a god, one of the routes in the game is called apotheosis, because if you as the player character help her realize that she is that god character, she just becomes it, and then she is a god, and then she is that fully kind of realized
So wait, she's not
concept.
aware of who she is at first?
Initially, at the beginning of the game, she is not aware. It is she changes in response to the player character,
Okay.
who has their own role, and that's really the spoiler thing I'm trying to avoid. I
Got
want
it.
everyone watching this cast to go play Slay the Princess, please.
Got it. So, but
I'm not just saying
she
that
does
because
not
the dev is here.
start as a character who understands her role.
Yes.
I forget. Does Flowey know who he is right off the bat?
Oh,
Flowey is essentially playing a role at the
yeah.
beginning of the game, if I remember.
I have
Flowey. Sorry, Moral, you go.
I'm sorry. I think if you just download Undertale and you watch like a
First part.
playthrough, like if you know that Flowey is gonna attack you at the beginning and you dodge, Flowey just says that, oh, so you already know the rules of the game. So I think there's some like awareness
Oh,
to a degree.
yeah. Flowey is aware. I forget if he knows like his origin as Azrael or not. But he is Flowey essentially like when you show up. You show up in the middle of what Flowey's like rampage has been, which is that Flowey, before you show up, Flowey had the most determination in the world and was constantly going around and killing people and then resetting. And the only two people he couldn't kill in his base form are Sans and I think Asgore, because they're both really, really strong. but Flowey was essentially like had kind of like sandbox control of the world that you're in. So he's definitely aware of the fact that he's powerful. I forget if he knows that he's Azrael or not. I don't remember that specifically. But eventually, like as when he becomes Azrael, like of course he knows that. He knows his backstory and stuff like that. I also want to echo what Moro said. Like when you fight Photoshop Flowey and Azrael, you don't actually beat them, like overpower them. You can't. I don't think there. When you fight Photoshop Flowey, you don't even have the ability to attack. Like it does. The game does not prompt you with the menu of things for you to do. What you do is that you have to convince the human souls inside Photoshop Flowey to like reject him, and they eventually do because they're the source of his power. And similarly with Azrael, when he absorbs the monsters, you have to like save the souls of the people that he's absorbed because you formed connections with them and you're friends with them and you make them remember who they are. And that eventually like, and because Azrael now has his soul back, he has a human soul, he's able to be emotionally like, you're able to talk, you're able to talk no jutsu him, right? And into not being evil anymore. But you don't actually defeat him physically. You can't hurt. I don't think you can hurt Azrael like at all. You have to like essentially just survive his onslaught through your determination and then talk no jutsu him into being a good guy.
That's right. I'm a calendar man mentions Flowey knows he's Azrael because he thinks you are Kara or Chara.
Yeah.
He is aware of Chara, so he must at least be somewhat aware, if not fully aware, that he was Azrael at some point. So he's knowledgeable at least to some degree, if not completely. I've seen a lot of people talk about the shifting mound as well. I want to get to that, but before we do, Aaron, did you have anything you want to say in counter to that?
Yeah, I also want to say I'm just seeing it popping up in chat a few times talking about how we're lacking a counter to Flowey being able to reset the game. Outside of the fact that the princess herself also contains that ability, a aspect of how the game functions is that to progress the game properly, the narrative does get reset a certain number of times. So Flowey, for example, killing the princess and then resetting the game to the beginning follows the narrative structure that the Slay the Princess game already takes. So if he were to do that enough times, it's going to reach the conclusions that the Slay the Princess game can reach, which is that she becomes, not becomes, the sleeping mound, which is that god character awakens after a certain number of cycles in the game.
I feel like trying to avoid spoilers may have caused a little bit of confusion of how the Slay the Princess game and the princess herself works. Can you kind of run us through, maybe not the last like arcs or whatever of how the princess works, but like a little bit of how maybe the middle of the game works? Like you approach the princess and this happens. Can you just kind of run us through how it works?
I think the best way to go about that is that the princess, again, to my understanding, is a small, essentially chunk of this larger entity concept, not even just the god of death, just death and destruction. And that concept, death, destruction, is called the shifting mound within the game. And the way that the game cycle works is that shifting mound essentially needs to wake back up. This is my understanding of it. And when shifting mound wakes back up, this takes the world out of stasis that has been placed in, and the cycle of change and life and death will continue. So as you play the game and you do whatever choices you want regarding to the princess, do you kill her? Do you make her realize that she could be a god? You know, do you betray her? Do you decide to side with her and help her? Those all will iterate to the shifting mound waking up and the cycle beginning again. That's kind of the big aspect of what you're doing with kind of the middle and end of the game.
Is Black Tabby still in chat? Was that correct? But from a literal perspective, you
God, I hope so. I'm avoiding like half of the context because again, I'm keeping the
that's why I think
is
it
the
might
most
be
fun
coming
twist
a little
aside.
confusing. From a literal perspective, you approach the princess and what happens? You stab her, she dies, and she gets reborn as something bigger, right?
Essentially, yes.
Okay, and then how does she get reborn as something from how you kill her? Like how you kill her results in what she becomes?
Yes. So let's say in a route, if you initially gain her trust and then you betray her by stabbing her in the back, when she comes back the next time, she is going to be very hostile and angry towards you because she will remember that you betrayed her. And then that iteration of her will continue. And essentially, the shifting mound is collecting, because it is change, destruction, death, it is collecting ways that the princess, essentially as a mini concept version of themselves, can change.
Okay.
So you have to get
So-
various endings for
Right. We
that
are building up
concept
to a
awaken.
version of the princess that has multiple iterations upon her from the different ways you have slain the princess.
Yeah.
Okay. So theoretically then there is a world where like Flowey or Azrael kills her and she comes back as something in response to that.
Yeah, I do think as far as how the actual matchup would go, it would be Flowey in this, rampage. I'm going to kill this person. I'm going to reset. But she comes back different. And then that
Okay.
is going to continue in the cycle between these two characters.
Okay. There are a few super chats I want to get to that are about this, and I think kind of like help start wrapping this up. And then I also want to get to the sneak peek in just a bit. But so first of all, from Mud Pie, can the princess attack the soul?
Essentially,
No.
there is, I'm going to abstract from a route. There is a route where the player character soul or ghost becomes absorbed by her and you briefly exist in the same body. So I'm going
Okay.
to take that to mean that she could interact with, attack, or take into herself.
Okay. I mean,
a soul.
people in chat are asking like, how does she attack? Like, what is her like general way of attacking?
Depends on her
Is it like a
form.
psychic thing or like a
Depends on
literal
her
stabbing?
form.
Okay.
In the default of the princess, if she attacks you, it will be through a dagger. Depending on
like
her.
Frisk.
Yeah. No, like I said, there's a lot of fun parallels to be found. Depending on the form that she changes into, she will gain control over certain things. So there is a version, it's in the Thorn and the Witch, where she is able to control plant matter. The cabin becomes covered by these sharp thorns that she is able to use to kill the player character.
That's like Flowey.
Yeah, just like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And then
So I'm
there's other
gathering she's like
aspects where she turns into like a nightmare. And in her nightmare form, the doll, she attacks the player character by making their organs shut down.
Like
Okay.
Oh wait.
Like no.
Shit. All right. Like Darth
So
Vader.
she basically is just
Crushing
like,
your
all
organs."
right, I'm going to give you a slow, crushing, painful death because this is what you're afraid of. I'm going to stop your heart.
Okay.
I'm going to stop your lungs. And then you were
Ooh.
trying to fight back against her shutting down your body.
Okay. Interesting. All right.
Wow.
We had to get through nearly 50 full minutes of just conceptual stuff with these characters before we could be like, oh yeah, she can stab you.
She's got a
It's
dagger.
just the kind of game it is.
What if Frisk was also Flowey? Is what I'm kind of gathering from this. Joe in chat, hello Joe. So Moro, can you do a face reveal? We have. This has been the face reveal of Moro this whole time. There he is.
This is the big reveal. Moro's a hamster gerbil something.
I'm skipping on the shifting mount stuff, but I'll get to that stuff in just a minute. Is Flowey aware enough? This is from not Santana, my dude. Is Flowey aware enough to thank the next sponsor? Flowey is absolutely aware to thank the next sponsor, which is actually not sort of us, but also U2s. Let's go ahead and bring up the U2s graphic because yeah, we have a U2s coming out. We have the Boomstick U2s coming soon. The release date will be the 25th, I believe. And it will be going for 2 weeks once we hit the 25th. So once that gets launched, like you have 2 weeks to actually order it. And after those 2 weeks are done, it's no longer going to be available. If enough of you are excited about this, we might make a Wiz one in the future with them. U2s has been awesome to work with. And the actual plushie is fantastic. So if you have any interest at all in this, definitely check it out once it launches in just a few days. And also there's a 1 in 6 chance that the plushie that you get has a golden shotgun, which is super cool. So yeah, that's coming up very soon in just a couple days, around the same time as the Master Chief Doom Guy episode, which is cool. Okay, so thank you for the alley oop there, Satana. All right, so okay, everybody, a lot of the other super chats are about shifting mound. So that's what I kind of want to get to the end here with, which is isn't
And
the
I still got to talk
shifting
about
mound?
Azrael.
Yeah, isn't the
Yes, we
shifting mound
still
the
need
That's very
to.
abstract
important.
concept
We
of
got a lot of work.
destruction? Can Flowey destroy without her say so? Site 42 mentions that the princess contains death in her multitudes. God of hyperdeath can't defeat death itself. And then War Guy mentions important reminder that princess will always become the shifting mound, her god form at the end of the game, which is stronger than apotheosis.
Yes.
So, and then there's been a bunch of other people talking about shifting mound. So we're kind of at the end here. I want to get to shifting mound. I want to talk about Azrael, and I want to get to the sneak peek. And we have like 10 minutes to do it all. So,
yes.
Shifting mound first. What the heck is the shifting mound?
Shifting mound is death, destruction, change.
Okay.
It is as like universal concept.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And at
Okay.
a certain, yes, as mentioned in chat, princess will always become shifting mound. As you play the game, it is going to happen. The only way to stop it from happening temporarily is you ask princess to keep the game resetting before she hits that point. But even then, eventually you're either going to stop playing the game and it'll stay in that stasis, or you're going to make a different choice.
Okay. And
Shifting mound
Azrael,
is an inevitability, much in the way in that death is an inevitability of life.
Okay. And Azrael is
Azrael is when Flowey reaches his full form. He's absorbed all the souls of the monsters in Undertale. He has an ability called the Hyper Goner. My joke originally was that I was going to mispronounce it as Hyper Gooner, but I thought that was stupid.
You still
Hyper
got it in
Goner.
there.
Yeah, I still got it in there. That destroys the entire Undertale world, not just one universe, but all of the timelines in Undertale. And it does what's called a true reset, which I think is the way that he'd be able to actually defeat the shifting mound. Is that the attack and the true reset literally goes into your game files, and you can see it in real time. It goes into your game files and deletes everything that isn't the base game. So every like timeline that you've interacted with, that you've done, that you've created through your actions, is erased. We know that Kara can do this. Azrael was going to do this, but Frisk's determination was high enough that he was like essentially talked down from doing it. But that is what he was going to do. So he was going to just delete all of the timelines in the game, aside from literally just the base game. He's also still able to save and load. He's completely unable to be harmed by Frisk. And I think doing that would eliminate those timelines that lead to the shifting mound. I mean, essentially, like reduce the if the shifting mound is a universal concept, this is the destruction of a multiverse. And the Undertale multiverse can essentially be as big as you want it to be. There's no like there's no limit really. The limit in reality when you're playing the game is just how many save files you have, which I actually calculated. If somebody started playing Undertale from the moment that the game released until now, they would have about 14,600 save files that Azrael would be capable of deleting. But in essence, it is essentially infinite. Like you can, it is as many as you want it to
okay.
be.
And you're equating
Yeah.
that to what, universes?
Yeah, because they're individual timelines.
Functionally within Undertale, yes, a save file
Yeah.
is a universe.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, and to that, I would say Flowey Azrael can do a true reset of the Slay the Princess game file. The game is just going to start right back up where it did. It is an inevitability that Princess will become shifting mound. By playing the game, you are going to make it happen. So ultimately, how the fight would have to end is that Flowey Azrael true resets the game, closes the game, and we never open it again. That is the only way that it can technically work.
So is this at the end of the day like a war of attrition? Whoever can like just kind of stomach being erased over and over more wins? Like, is there any way to just erase the two of these guys at all?
I mean,
I mean, who
Flowey, even his
has?
Photoshop Flowey can like warp reality. He can like change the intro to the game. Like he can change the story of the universe itself. So I think he'd be able to affect something like the shifting mound just by doing that.
It's possible there's an iteration of this where Flowey just ends up being in a stasis of never changing and just sitting in a room forever. And that can be his win state. That's about as best as I think we can do here to have a definitive ending to this. Uh, Shifting mound being destruction and change is that the only way that it does not, like, quote unquote manifest win is if just change ceases to be.
Moro, are you getting any of this? Like, what are you thinking?
I mean, who has more patience between the two characters?
That's a good question.
That
Who's
is
gonna get more
probably the question,
frustrated
yeah.
and maybe flub first?
Flowey
Flowey
didn't have
is
any emotions.
Flowey has no emotions, but also is essentially psychotic. So
Yeah, I don't
Flowey
think
has no
I don't think
emotions.
patience.
Isn't the
Yes.
final fight with him just like him just getting super angry?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he just
but
runs away.
there's no reason there's nothing stopping him from like the thing that stops him is that the souls that he's absorbed are like talked to by Frisk and like reject him
Yeah,
because of their like connection as humans. Flowey like
Okay.
is down to just keep going forever.
Okay. All right. Well, my brain is thoroughly fried. I
see,
think
I
now.
was really excited when we got this as a cast pitch because I would get to talk about this game and hopefully convince some people to play the game. But also, yeah, I was truly going into this episode today just like thought about it real hard. I don't know how you get a definitive like end state out of this.
Well, Cypher2 and a few other people in chat have mentioned how Flowey is impatient and annoyed, and the princess is basically infinitely patient. So perhaps patience, again, going back to that idea of a war of attrition, might be a key factor for the princess, but also if
How does that
if
manifest? Like Flowey's impatience. Like what does that mean? Like he goes yeah, kill me.
I
Because
don't
like
know.
there's nothing stopping him from just like tree resetting as long as he wants, or Azrael to do that as long as he wants, as long as he has determination, and that's sort of the whole point of what matters is determination. Actually, your determination to keep on going, and your
Which is like a
determination
power
is
level
like
essentially in Undertale.
yeah,
So
and it's like
yeah.
infinite in Undertale. Like
Okay.
you're
So we go from some people in chat were mentioning like last week's chat was Death Metal Cast was also mind bending. So you guys have thrown two very like complex matchups at me 2 weeks in a row. So I think it's time to like relax a little bit, start trying to parse out who you think is going to win. I'm going to get a poll up in just a minute. But while we're thinking about that, let's go ahead and check out the sneak peek for the upcoming death battle of Master Chief versus Doomslayer. Let's play that.
I'll finish this fight. Rip and tear!
Hell yeah. All right. April 27th, we got Master Chief versus Doomslayer airing. Not saying it's like an uncomplicated matchup, but compared to the shenanigans we've been talking about here, they're just guys shooting guns at each other. It's a lot more simple to sort of just comprehend as a fight. And yes, that was animated by Devil Artemis, the voice of Shovel Knight in Indie Cross. Wow. And Dave Fisher, longtime animator for Death Battle. They have paired up to make one hell of a duel. Very excited for it. Speaking of Devil, like Moro, like we've worked with Devil Artemis as an animator for years, but you're working with him as like a voice actor, which is I feel like a very different thing. What's it been like directing Devil Artemis as a voice actor?
I usually just hire voice actors, just let them do their own takes, and then just eventually just take basically essentially the best take they do. What made me choose Devil is I remember seeing somebody like saying that the old VA for Shovel Knight sounded like Cell, and then I was like,
That's funny.
yeah, basically that.
Yeah, definitely gets a little bit of his perfect cell voice in there, but a little more noble, I suppose. A little more
Yeah,
knightly, right?
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And again, if you have not checked out Indie Cross 2, check it out on Moral Productions channel. All right, I'm getting the poll up. Any last bits you guys want to say about Flowey and Princess and who should win and why? I don't know if we missed anything. We probably missed a lot, but anything that we necessarily should mention right now, go for it.
You should go play these two games if you haven't.
You should, guys. I have a game recommendation for you. Undertale.
If you've been under a rock
Super
for the
Mario
past
Brothers.
decade and you've never played Undertale, you should play it.
Fortnite.
And you should play Slay the Princess.
There was a question earlier that was like, "Is Undertale like Fortnite?" And I didn't, I didn't know what
No.
to make of that question in chat.
Not at
Yes.
all. It's a video
Yes,
game.
it is.
It's more like Fortnite than a grilled cheese sandwich is like
Yeah.
Fortnite. So, yeah.
It's the same way. It's like Fortnite the way that a hamburger is the same as a steak. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No, I think that Azrael's like determination is simply off the charts. It is infinite in its ability to like literally destroy an infinite multiverse. There's no way at best for the princess it's going to be a stalemate, and at worst the fact that even Photoshop Flowey, who's infinitely like weaker than Azrael, can warp reality and change the continuity and the plot of Undertale, he'd be able to affect the shifting mound
Okay.
and rewrite it to kill it.
Real quick, just want to get these last few super chats. I want just a yes or no from Aaron and Liam on this. Crossover 4 asks, it sounds like the only thing that can really kill either of them is conceptual eraser. Can either erase a concept? Liam, yes or no?
Yes.
Aaron, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Elcato, I feel like the Princess Final Form being a concept is higher than what Flowey and Undertale is capable of manipulating. Well, that might actually have just answered that question, Cato. Militor, can we just have a punchy matchup, please? Maybe next Metal Cast we'll
You
get
can have
some guys who
thorns.
just
You can have
punch each
you
other.
have vine tendrils punching. That'll be part of the fight. You
Yeah.
know.
Cat Magnet, I forgot to say this last super chat. Omega Flowey and Chara force shut down the game. Yeah, they're both able to do that. And then we've got some gifted membership, a lot of gifted memberships actually from Super Money, Kindrax, Vamulator. Everybody thank them if you got one from them. Thank you guys for gifting memberships. We all really appreciate that. And then crossover. So to be clear, the princess is evil, right? Is the princess evil?
Is change evil?
I mean, you kill her.
That is a
right?
That a spoiler?
Is change evil? Is death evil? Is she evil? What is she? Is the point of playing the game.
What is evil?
What is
and
evil?
then
Is
for our
death
final,
so bad?
I know I'm unfortunately not able to get every super chat. Thank you guys so much for all of them, but I will give our final super chat tomorrow from Get Jinx. Hey Moro, do you want to animate Springtrap versus Junko?
I think I watched
say no.
the cast for that one. I think I can't remember how it went down. I don't know. I think a lot of people like prefer other match.
Do you prefer another matchup for Springtrap or Junko?
Yeah.
All right.
Cooked.
Wow. Shut down. Okay.
Junk Trap
It's not my
fans in chat
decision. It's not
Put it
my
on the wiki.
decision.
owned. You got your answer.
Yeah. That deconfirmed episode there. No. All right, let's go ahead and wrap up this poll. It has been very close. You guys have been
Wait,
there's
Ben, who are you
clearly
voting
a lot of opinions. Oh.
for? And Moro.
I don't know. I don't know who I'd vote for. I guess like the whole idea of the shambling mound for or what is it? Is it
Shifting
shambling
mound.
Shifting mound. Shambling mound's in DD.
We've called it a lot
The
of different
shifting
things.
mound is fascinating to me. I need to know more about it, but if it is what it sounds like, I personally at the moment I feel like Flowey doesn't have a way to deal with that, and so I'm leaning Princess, but I'm not so sure. Moro, do you have a who would you pick as a winner just right now based on everything we've said?
Yeah, it's just like you said. I don't think Flowey has any way to kill the princess. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we're both feeling the same way on it. And I think chat is also, I think we're on the same wavelength as chat. As chat has voted, I'm ending the poll now with over 1,000 votes, 51% to the princess. Wow, that's
Holy
close.
shit.
Wow.
You know, I'll take
51%
it.
of votes. So it is a very, very close decision, but for now, the princess takes it. I don't know how this would actually turn out in a full death battle, because clearly there's a lot more to talk about. And this would be potentially a matchup that is incredibly based on like interpretation. And every death battle, interpretation is kind of an important element, right? Like obviously whoever's writing the death battle or researching might have a different interpretation than you do of certain characters, but like this one I feel like it would be pretty significant how things are interpreted. So I don't know how that would necessarily go with everybody, but if you want to see us do Flowey versus the princess, let us know. We'd love to hear from you, and let us know who you think would win, because I don't really know how to answer this one. I have no idea how this would go. Okay. Let's wrapping things up here. Moro, thank you so much for joining. If you guys have not seen Indie Cross 2 on the Moro Production YouTube channel, go check it out. Moro, is there going to be an Indie Cross 3?
It's actually an episode, so it's not. You're naming it like it's a movie. I mean, it's.
It basically is.
Yeah, was it
Yeah,
not?
yeah.
It's like
the
50
way.
minutes long, man. Like holy shit.
A lot of
That's-
work.
Yeah.
Wait, hang
So
on,
basi-
hang on. Is that not
Yeah.
what's the like minimum length for a feature film? Hang on,
I think it's like 80 minutes.
I think it's 80.
so it's a
Yeah.
short film.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Oh,
According to the British Film Institute, a feature film runs for more than 40 minutes.
40 minutes.
Okay,
Oh,
so in
made a-
England, it's a
in
feature
Britain.
film.
Yeah, I'm a
In
Brit.
Britain, it is a feature film.
Fucking
Yeah, I'm British.
There we go.
Pate films.
I don't want to attempt. I don't want to attempt the British accent, so I'm just gonna shut up.
No, that's what we're hearing right now. Like you're naturally British, because clearly, right? Yeah. So
Hello there, governor. Give me one
so
of
go
those.
check
There you
out the
go.
feature film of Indie Cross 2. Incredible. Apom and Mimikyu, do we trust the British though? Do you not trust British people? What's wrong? What happened to British people?
Sight and sound, more like fight and shit and fuck. Yeah, got him. Fucking.
Uh-huh.
British
Yep.
assholes.
Keep calm and define films as shorter than they need to be. There we go.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Go check out Indie Cross. Moro absolutely killed. Dude, the shit you pulled off with that is incredible. I think it looks so freaking cool. And it's such a unique blend of indie video game styles and like art styles and like interactions. If you like Death Battle, you're gonna like Indie Cross. Like it's so fucking cool. Okay, and also thank you, Aaron, for jumping on the cast and kicking Liam's butt by 1%.
I try to do it every time I come on the show, Ben. And thank you to Black Tabby Games for hopping in the chat for a bit.
Yeah, that was a surprise, but a welcome one. All right, and again, Master Chief vs. Doomslayer is coming out this weekend. It'll be out this Sunday. We'll show the sneak peek when in just a second. But also, something that's coming out even sooner is the U2's plushie. Let's bring that image back up. Look at that! Look at that little guy! Look at that little grumpy man! You can get your own Boomstick U2's plushie very soon, starting on Friday the 25th, I believe, at like 3 p.m. Central. This launches, so be ready for that. We will have like posts and social posts and things like that. We'll be talking about it, just to make sure nobody forgets. Right, so you'll hear about it in the death battle as well if you forget. But yeah, if you are at all interested in owning your own little plushie Boomstick, that will be available starting this Friday, and it'll only be available for 2 weeks. So make sure to get your order in within those 2 weeks. I believe it ends on May 9th. I'm pretty sure. Hopefully I'm not saying that. But yeah, 2 weeks. Starting April 25th. All right. Thank you all so much for joining us for one hell of a Death Battle cast. This has been fascinating and mind-breaking, and I really hope next week's is a little simpler.
I hope next week's is worse. I hope it's more complicated.
Oh no. Oh no.
I hope it goes for 2.5 hours and we don't get a conclusion.
Oh man. Probably. All right,
This is my first time here.
Yeah, Moro's first time here. How did that go, Moro? Is your brain still functioning? Mine's not.
Yeah, that was a really simple matchup to start up my first appearance.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Well, I'll just go ahead and wrap things off with one more look at the upcoming death battle of Master Chief versus Doomslayer. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you next week.
I'll finish this fight.